Welcome to Reddissimo, home of great Reddit stories. Don't forget to subscribe now.
AITA for kicking my stepson out of the house for smoking weed. I'm in Canada. It is perfectly legal. My stepson, Sean, is 18 and he is in university. He lives with his dad and I so he can go to school in our city. His mom lives on an acreage about 40 kilometers north of town, so that would be quite the commute. I didn't really want him in my house, but my husband insisted and promised me that Sean would behave. He would clean up after himself and he would not cause me any problems. He isn't a bad kid. He does his chores and keeps to himself mostly. He had some trouble with staying up late and being disruptive when he got here last summer, but we got that sorted out. My husband and I have a 3-year-old daughter. Sean is friendly with her and has babysat her a few times. The problem is he smokes so much weed. I'm honestly surprised he isn't failing out of school. I personally don't care. Except we agreed he would smoke outside or in the garage. And he's been smoking up in his room. 3 problems. My daughter doesn't need to get a contact high. It stinks. He has the window open so we are paying to heat up the house constantly. Damn that noise. I spoke with my husband and told him that Sean wasn't following the rules we had agreed to. He had one more chance, then he had to find somewhere else to live. Sean said he was sorry and he promised he would behave. He even showed me that he bought edibles so he wouldn't get his sister high, stink up the house, or need to open his window. It was fine for 2 weeks and then he did it again. So I kicked him out. I packed up his shit and took it all to his mom's place. And I had the lock codes changed. When he got home from school he lost his shit. He said that I was being a controlling bitch and that I didn't have any right to tell him what to do in his father's house. I laughed in his face. I told him that the only house his father ever bought is the one his mother lives in. His dad is my husband, but they are both living in my house. I guess he didn't know that and he started apologizing. I called him an Uber to take him to his mother. He didn't go and he called my husband instead. My husband made arrangements with his brother for Sean to move there. His mom drove all his belongings back into town and now he isn't my problem. Unfortunately for Sean, his uncle is completely against cannabis. So he can't have any there. And he is currently sleeping on a hide-a bed. His dad, uncle, and himself are going to build him a room in the unfinished basement this weekend. My husband is on my side since Sean broke our agreement. His mother is salty about having to come into town. And Sean is begging me to let him come back. Comments. NTA. Because you repeatedly told him the rules and he continued to disrespect them. Yes, weed is legal, it doesn't mean you can do it anywhere in other people's homes or that it's appropriate around young children. You also gave him reasonable alternatives, not sure why he can't just go to the garage. Also the attitude switch when he realized it was indeed your house. But you do come across a bit smug about this and not like a loving stepmother. You're not wrong about this specific situation, but generally you don't sound like you're doing all this with his best interest at heart. Second comment. Cigarettes are legal, and people still don't want that smoking in their homes. Alcohol is legal, and one could still kick someone out for getting drunk repeatedly at their home. Heck, music is legal, and still can get you kicked out if listened at high volume. Bikinis are legal, but if you go to work wearing one you may get asked to go home and change. The fact that something is legal doesn't mean that there is no proper time and place to use it. Third comment. This isn't about him. This is about you. You flat out don't like him, and I'm assuming because he dared to be born to another woman. You found a reason to kick him to the curb. The whole my is disconcerting here. You literally just admitted they are just people living there at your grace. That's what YTA here. The sheer joy you are getting over this massive power trip. Having the stepson move out is one thing. He broke the rules, but the sheer enjoyment of you getting to do that just shows an extreme lack of character. Fourth and last comment. He is a jerk for smoking inside the house. Yes, this is a fact. But all I can notice about this post is you. Your house, your rules, your discipline, you're in control. Him and his dad live in your house that you bought all by yourself, so they need to bow down to you. My 3-year-old, my heating bill, holy crap, are you proud of yourself and show it.
Would think my wife needs to do more around the house than just taking care of the baby? This is a throwaway account and info will be broad. We are mid-30s. Prior to our baby, we used to split the chores around the house. We both vacuumed and cleaned the bathrooms. If one cooked, then the other one does the dishes. We also have dogs and we would both walk them in the morning and at night. After my wife became pregnant, I was doing a lot more of the chores around the house, which I was fine with since she couldn't do as much anymore due to lack of mobility and chemicals from the cleaners for the bathrooms. We still walked the dogs to get my wife some exercise during the pregnancy. I work from home 4 days of 5 days, 8 to 9 hour days, with 1 day being in the office. My work isn't super stressful, but I have deadlines. After the birth, my MIL and mom switched off staying with us for the first month to help us around the house. This allowed my wife and I to focus on our baby and allowed me to help my wife with whatever she needed, whether it was to help feed the baby, change its diaper, or clothe the baby. However, after the month of help, both our parents went back home and everything was now on us to cook, clean, laundry, dogs, and taking care of the baby. My wife has been on maternity leave since the birth of our baby and I haven't taken my leave yet and don't plan to until my wife goes back to work. So after the birth of our baby, I still work my normal hours. However, I still try to help out whenever she asks me to help with the baby. When I can step away, then I will. So she's not doing all the baby stuff by herself. This is where I'm wondering if AITA. My wife on maternity leave is pretty much a stay-at-home mom, since all she's doing is just taking care of the baby. However, that's almost all she does. I've joked around with her saying that she's currently a stay-at-home mom, but she's not pulling her weight around the house other than taking care of the baby, and I still help her with the baby too. During the mornings, if it's a sunny day, then my wife will walk with the baby in the stroller while I'm the one walking the dogs. However, if it's a rainy, then it all falls solely on me to do it all. I'm also the one who takes the dogs for a walk in the evening. I cook dinner and I'd say 9.5 out of 10 times I'm also the one either doing the dishes or putting them into our dishwasher. I always make the bottles every night. Baby is on formula. A normal day for my wife is feeding the baby every 3 hours at 7 a.m. and put to bed at 8 p.m. Weekends, I do 5-0 by duties while still doing the cooking, dishes, and taking the dogs out in the evenings. I've told my wife that I'd switch with her at night where I feed the baby and she takes the dogs out, but she brushes it off without an answer. I'm starting to feel burned out helping with the baby and the chores. So WIBTA for thinking that my wife should be doing more than just taking care of the baby.
Comments from women. With my first baby, I had preeclampsia, so I was induced a little over a week before my due date. That ended up overlapping with the closing on our first house, so we were in the midst of a move. I also had a 4th-degree tear that was still, to this day, the most excruciating pain I've ever had. Paternity leave wasn't really a thing back then, so my husband went back to work as soon as I got home from the hospital, and he expected me to pack up our apartment since I was home all day. Oh, did I mention baby also had jaundice and had to be put in the sun basically every hour? I just couldn't do it all. I will never, ever forget him coming home when the baby was about a week old, surveying the boxes that hadn't been packed and asking, "What the hell have you been doing all day?" And you know what? I felt so damn guilty and unworthy because I thought I should have been able to do it all. I wish I could go back and tell my younger self how unreasonable and unfair it all was. Second comment. Seriously, how do men always seem to miss that giving birth is a big damn deal? It's not just about the baby. Paternity leave is nice and all, but maternity leave is absolutely essential because the mum needs to heal. It's not just about caring for an excruciatingly needy infant, It's about recuperating from a major medical event, something that would take time and energy even if you didn't also suffer from sleep loss and may or may not be spending all your precious calories and nutrients on feeding a kid rather than rebuilding your own body. Third comment. I love how he acts like the baby eats, sleeps, and poops, as if baby never cries, never needs to be held skin to skin for extended periods for comfort. This also insinuates mom is simply a baby vending machine who has no physical or emotional recovery needs after birth. OP, your wife is going through a lot. She's not on a lazy vacation, she is healing and needs rest and time. At the same time she's recovering from birth, which most countries outside of the US agrees takes approximately 6 months, she's taking care of a demanding new life. Calm down, don't wait for her to ask you to do things, and be a dad. Is he the a-hole? How would you answer? Drop your comments now.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe now. You are awesome.